Well, hello there, pot pickers. Yes, it's me and my big Scouse mate again, the Scouse and the Scot, bringing you the freshest of news from the music scene. So let me hand over to my friend, the Scouser.
So, what have we got today? We have got the one, the only, new, fairly new to us, definitely, but what I've heard so far has been amazing. It's actually really interesting. So, I've got a whole load of questions, but let me introduce you to Bobbie Dazzle. How the hell are you?
Very well. How are you guys doing?
Not bad at all. Not bad at
Yeah.
all. So, let's go straight into the questions, like, because obviously you've just had a couple of dates with the legend Alice Cooper. How was it?
Do you know, it was it was like hanging out with just a completely normal dude. He's so freaking nice, but he's got that reputation within the scene. I was very nervous before obviously having to go do that because it is huge. It's Alice
Yeah.
Cooper. Um, and so many people that I'd spoken to have been like, we've interviewed him, he's absolutely lovely, and they weren't wrong. He is so, so nice.
Because
Y-
obviously you was with him when other news broke when another legend passed away, unfortunately. Um, uh, and yeah, the one, the only Aussie.
Yeah.
And I know Ozzy and Alice have been very close on multiple occasions. That must have been kind of difficult to see, like, a legend, a hero, like, for many people in that situation who's been very close.
Yeah. So the news broke 5 minutes before I hit the stage in Cardiff, which was my first show with Alice. And I
Wow.
had to break the news that Ozzy Osbourne had just died to about 5,000 people. So it was really intense, not something I will forget. And then I had a chat with Alice later on, and he was talking about how him and Ozzy go back to the late 60s, and he's only 1 year older than Ozzy. And he thought Ozzy had longer, and I think it really shook him, and it was crazy, and I could tell that the whole, rock community just really felt it. It's been heavy, and I'm from Birmingham, so I'm experiencing it. The most famous person in Birmingham, who was so incredibly loved and was a massive part of our identity, has gone, and I think we are all grieving.
It was
Oh,
it was quite
100%.
mad actually because I'm 64, so I remember early 70s all the way through the 70s. I remember Alice Cooper, and I can remember buying his albums and things like that when I was a teenager. So it goes way back for me. And Ozzy was probably, and Black Sabbath was probably the first heavy band I was ever introduced to at the age of 12. And it was nuts for me. I mean, up in my wall here, you can see, I think, actually, when I look at it, it's all people that's dead, but hey, I don't know, I didn't do that on purpose. But it had a bigger effect than anybody else that I've ever seen, like a death like that. And I think it was because so many generations knew him for different reasons and loved
Yeah.
him for various different things. There was as many people knew him from his television show than there was knew him for the music, and I think it was that whole thing. But he was just larger than life. He was one of them that you thought, like Lemmy, you thought he'd never, they're gone forever, despite the fact that they should never have even reached the ages they did because of all the stuff they got up to. So it must have been nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned people knew him from his TV show. That was myself because, I was a child when that show came out. And that was my first experience to him, and his personality, he was so likable even though he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
The things that he's done, and you know, his struggles and openness with drug addiction, alcoholism, and his personality, the fact that Sharon stood by his side for all of these years, it's just been so interesting to watch their entire lives.
Mm.
And yes, it was entertainment, but also the music was amazing. And just as a family, all of them just are so likable. So yeah, there's kind of something for everyone within Ozzy's space, whether it is watching that TV show, thinking he's funny, enjoying his music, maybe even hating him. A lot of people did, but everyone knew who he was.
Yeah, no, I agree. So talking like that, so it's a natural thing to do. You mentioned there about you knowing him through the television program rather than the music, because obviously you're much younger than myself. So what kind of music did you get in? What was the first time can you remember the first bands you get into and you thought that's what made you want to be who you are?
So my parents, I think for everyone, their parents probably are their first influences when it comes to music because you listen to what your parents listen to when you're growing up. And on my dad's side, it was American glam and punk, so bands like the New York Dolls, artists like Iggy Pop. Um, so like the American grittier side of glam rock, I would say. And then my mom, she loved T-Rex, David Bowie. So she loved the British side of glam rock. So that was really ingrained within my childhood. And so that music for me became nostalgic. And then growing up, I kind of had like a goth phase and I was really into Evanescence. But I think mainly it was rock music. And I'd ventured into female artists like Kate Bush and the Runaways, Suzi Quatro. So there's always been that kind of like empowerment of rock music for females within whatever I've listened to. So I think that's definitely ingrained in me now.
So I've got to ask this, and it's a random question. What made you choose an ABBA song to cover next?
Do you know what? ABBA are glam rock. You can't listen. So I covered Watch
I'm not,
Out.
not denying it, not
I
denying it.
agree.
But
I
I
agree.
love I
what's
love
the,
ABBA, and I think people think of ABBA and they think of the musical. They've not really delved very deep into their discography. There's so many bangers in their back catalogue. My favorite ABBA song, because everyone thinks ABBA's really wholesome. My favorite ABBA song is called Two for the Price of One. And it's about a man putting an advertisement in a paper to hire a prostitute and he ends up with a mother and daughter and gets two for the price of one. So that's about as wholesome as ABBA get.
Well, to be
And
fair,
it's brilliant.
they were going through. If you think about the lyrics to some of the songs, they were both married to. Both couples were married in the band,
Mm.
and both of them got divorced. And the guys were making the girls sing songs about the breaking up. The winner
Yeah.
takes it all, and also, I mean, how good was that? Here, I've got these lyrics for you. Oh, really?
I think this is a common theme with married couples that break up in bands. I mean, look at Fleetwood Mac, it was exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
Don't be
yeah,
in bands with your partners, it doesn't work out very well.
yeah.
sorry, I'm just you making a note then. So obviously you play the flute, you
Yeah.
bring colour back into. I think you are one of the brightest artists that I've seen. Definitely your music videos. It's got that 70s vibe. Where did that come from?
So for me, Bobbie Dazzle is about joy, happiness, and kind of just like smushing positivity into people's faces. I really feel like there's just a lack of positivity within music. And I think other people thought that too, because a lot of people have come along for the ride. I mean, my debut album only came out less than a year ago. And I mean, so much has happened since then. So clearly there was, a place for me within the music world. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to create the happiest music on earth that people can have fun to. And it's been so nice watching people respond to it and dance when they come and watch and just have big smiles on their faces. It's so nice to experience that when I'm standing on stage.
It's clever as
What?
well because it's clever marketing. I know you're not doing it from a marketing perspective, but taking a stance like that is that there's a guy I love him as well because he's he's openly cheesy. It's Sam Miller, and Sam Miller and his band. It's like proper 80s sort of like what used to be called adult orientated rock, and he
Yeah.
has a cheese fest. And it's absolutely brilliant because you can't go to his gigs or listen to his music without smiling. And I think
Mm.
you're doing the same thing. And my God, we need it. There's too much po-facedness and I can understand it because if you're reflecting real life, it's not always very pretty. But that's one of the things that when I checked you out and we first started up, I think I said that you just came out of nowhere as far as I could see with
Mhm.
Bobbie Dazzle, obviously, and it was like I think you played Call of the Wild. It was one of the big festivals anyway, and I'm like, who the hell's that? So then I started looking into it, saw a video and a couple of things. I was like, oh man, this is great. This takes me back to when I was a young teenager watching Susie Quattro and people like that, when in the suite and things like, but with a there's a lot of pop in there as well, sort of
It's very
like,
accessible. Yeah, it's definitely accessible music. And I did want it to be that way. I just wanted to write fun stuff that, you can, it's still, I would like to consider the musicianship still interesting, and I've got these like prog breakdowns and these psychedelic influences in there. But yeah, really, I did want to create pop rock tunes in a way, but in a different way. So, that's why I've kind of harked back to the 70s, because bands like The Sweet, they were very appealing to kind of all genres. And I've brought something back that people have missed, and I'm also introducing something to different generations that didn't really know about it. So it's been really nice to see the different age ranges of people that have been enjoying it.
So, what would you say your general demographics been so far?
It's been really varied, and I suppose it kind of depends where you play and stuff. Obviously, when I played with Lita Ford recently, so her fan base is a certain age, and I've played with different people, their fan base is a certain age. So I've kind of been getting out there, and just noticing that there's not really a complete demographic. It is very varied, men, women, everyone in between. So yeah, it's been really varied, to be honest.
Yes, true. Because I think the way I would put it is, I could imagine stag parties and hen parties going to your gig. You know what I mean? Just for the sheer hell of it. You know what I mean? I think I can genuinely see that. So I think you're obviously doing it. I think I think you've hit a rich seam, if you like, that taken to keeping doing it will have its own. You'll have a wide demographic, I think, appeal.
Yeah, I think so. At the end of the day, the one thing I always remind myself, and it's not, I don't have to remind myself very often, is that I'm not actually really doing this for anyone else. It's always been for myself, and it's just like obviously everyone is welcome. But I think that's really important when you're making music and when you are an artist, is to not compare yourself to others and not worry too much about how it's going and what you're doing, because it can be so exhausting now, especially with social media and having to constantly be posting and worrying about whether the algorithm is being kind to you, things like this. You have to remind yourself of why you're a musician, why you want to make the music. And for me, I started this after my sister passed away in 2023, because I really needed something to like pull me out of that grief. So making really happy music was really important to me, and my sister is now a part of this. My dad is also a part of it, because I used some of his lyrics on one of the songs, and my dad's also passed away. So it's all personal, and it's very much for me. And when you're making music for other people, that's when it's just you doing it for the wrong reasons.
That, that speaks volumes. It's quite touching that actually, because I know exactly. I've been through similar. There you go, and that we'll just keep it as that. So I totally get where you're coming from on this. So bringing it back, obviously you shared the stage with Lita Ford as well, another
Mm.
icon. What is in the future for yourself? Because obviously you've topped off with Alice Cooper and Lita Ford. How can you top it? Who would you love to support next?
Youngblood. She's going to play with Youngblood.
Do you know Youngblood's festival? I absolutely love, and I've got a close working relationship with AG Presents, and they put on Youngblood's festival. So yeah, it could be in the
Yeah,
cards. But yeah, I can't believe that I sang Cherry Bomb with an actual runaway. Like, what the hell?
what?
When I came off stage, I just sat in my dressing room and I just went, who am I? Because all of this has been really fast. Like, who becomes an artist and then a year later is on stage with some of their most respected and influential artists. This is very surreal. So obviously next month I am on tour with Luke Morley from Thunder, so that would be great around the UK. Later in the year, which is a really big one for me, is I'm on tour with Sweet. So Andy Scott Sweet, and Sweet are my
Perfect.
biggest influence when it came to writing, like easily. I've got Sweet Fanny Adams, their 1974 record behind me on my vinyl player. So that's like I feel like I'm just ticking off all my goals really quickly, and it's like, well, what is going to be left? I don't know.
You'll get
Next
them to support
year,
you. You'll get them to support you.
uh, oh, it'll be nice.
That's the aim when they support you. That's amazing with the Sweet, because to me the
Yeah.
Sweet is somebody that grew up through it. The Sweet were the archetypal. It was like the to most people they were a pop band, but if you saw them live, they were an out and out hard rock band. In
Yeah.
fact, that's where the Teenage Rampage and Ballroom Blitz came from, and that was one of my local towns when it happened. It was because loads of people turned up expecting a pop band
Mm.
and got really hacked off when this hard rock band came out. and played rock music, and it was also that, that's the thing with them. But even when they played the other week, when they played one of the big festivals, and people were saying that they sounded absolutely amazing live, which
Yeah.
in this day and age, most people of that age can't do it anymore. Unfortunately, the ones that are alive anyway can't do it anymore. But they seem to be able to smash it at the park.
Yeah, so Andy Scott is the only one left alive. And I see comments online of people being annoyed that he's carried on and people commenting like, that's not sweet. But it's utterly ridiculous. He's the only one left and he's still performing. And he's had some really, really bad health problems and had to cancel a lot of shows, but he's still going and he's still able to perform his music to a really high standard for people to hear, and people still get to go see it. Like, what the hell do people want? They just want him to pack up and give in because the rest of the members are dead. No. Let the world hear the music.
I'll be honest, I think that's one of the things which baffles me a lot, where, like, because I'm a massive Pantera fan, and obviously with them doing I wouldn't, celebration tour, I totally get it. I think it's a great idea. Like, there's people who've never seen that music played live, and it's one of those, go and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just reminisce on what it used to be
Yeah.
like, and if you can get a kick from it, get a kick from it.
Not hurting anyone. It's
I
just
know.
music.
There's too much negativity, and that's why I like the idea of what you're doing, bringing a bit of fun back.
Yeah.
And like I say, just keep on doing it, because you're doing the right things. You're getting noticed by the right people. So please just keep on smashing it, like, you know what I mean. So
I'll do it for you. I'll keep smashing it for you.
So what was your musical history before Bobbie Dazzle, if you don't mind me asking?
So I performed in this is going to be really, really funny. So I performed in a doom rock band for 7 years. So
I can see why you want to be happy
opposite.
now.
I know, right? It was a completely different world. Like there's still a place in my heart for, the scene that I was in and the music that I would listen to, but performing it never really felt like me. And stepping into being Bobbie was so crazy. I just feel so free now. And it's weird because I created this like rock star character. I took inspiration from like Freddie Mercury and I don't want to say Gary Glitter. That's not
Bowie.
right.
Let's
But
go with David
Ziggy
Bowie.
Stardust. Yeah, Ziggy Stardust. So I took that influence that they create this character for themselves to like step into, and I did that, but I wasn't. I was just stepping into being myself, so that was really nice. But that is what I did before. I was in a doom stoner rock band for 7 years, and that is the only other band I have ever been in. So
how did you find the transition from singing them? So obviously doing completely different style to what you're doing now.
yeah, I created, so I did my debut album as Bobbie and did my final album with that band all in the same year. And it was like having to put my head in two different places. It was strange, kind of easy to do because I understood what that band at the time expected, and it was kind of the same over and over again. It was a bit stagnant for me. So moving into this, it was new, it was exciting, it was fresh, so it was very easy. So yeah, it didn't feel difficult. It was fine stepping into it. I was happy to do it. Look at where I am. I'm happy girl on stage.
Did you have to change any of your techniques vocally?
It's obviously a different style of singing, so it's just everything's quicker now.
And she to learn to
Doom is
smile.
like-
She to learn to smile while singing.
Yeah, I had to learn to smile while singing and had to learn to dance about on stage.
Love it. So, what is the strangest thing you've seen at a festival at the moment?
The strangest thing I've seen at a festival.
I like throwing in random questions. Apologies, but it's got.
Or even at a gig, even at your gig where you've been at a gig,
What is the strangest things that you've seen?
Someone printed off, this isn't with Bobbie, but my last month, someone printed off laminated pictures of me that they'd got off my Facebook when I'd left it open. I didn't really think about like not making it public. Really old laminated pictures of me for me to sign. And I just thought that was really strange. I thought that was like a really invasion of your privacy. They were like pictures from like 10 years previous as well. Like I wasn't even an adult. It was really strange.
Oh,
So that was
wow.
one. That's one weird thing. Um,
That's when you got the restraining order taken out on you.
yeah.
Well, that would freak me right out,
The most recently, I had someone offer me at the Alice Cooper Cardiff show. He offered me a prune in a bag when I was at the merch table, and it was like covered in hair. And when I said no, he was really offended. And I was like, "Oh, do you want a free badge?" And he was like, "No." And he just walked off because I wouldn't take his hairy prune.
That maybe wasn't a prune though. That's the thing.
I don't want to know. If it
To
was
be
anything
honest,
else,
John,
I
I
don't
think
know.
that's going to be tough to top whoever comes on next.
We asked this question to everybody, and I don't think anybody's going to beat that one. I've been off with a prune covered in hair. And every man, if it's a man, you can just imagine what they're all thinking. That wasn't no prune.
Geez, normally people just offer you M&M's, like peanuts and M&M's.
I'd have taken it if it was an M&M, but some like old dried fruit. No.
No,
So I've got
that is
another
strange. You've
two more
attracted some
random
strange people.
questions for you. Two more random questions. What was the last T-shirt you bought?
Band one.
And band T-shirt, not. And
Well, I don't know if this counts, and I took it with me on tour, and then Ozzy passed away, so I couldn't wear it. But it's a T-shirt with a picture of Lemmy that says Ozzy Osbourne at the top, like those like joke band,
Oh
those
yeah.
joke band things where it's like the wrong artist and a different picture. So I was like, well, I can't wear that.
No, that's definitely not a good one. That's cool.
And the last one, I've just got this, and I was like messing around with it. I've seen it a few places, and I'd be interested on this one. Winner stays on. So it's against some of your influences, and see who you think is the better.
Okay.
Susie Quattro versus T-Rex.
No, this is going to be so hard. I'm going to hate you at the end of this.
Nice one, mate.
I'm going to say T-Rex.
Yeah, definitely.
T-Rex or David Bowie?
So why do you hate me?
I don't.
Even the dogs run away now.
I'm going to say Bowie only because he had a chance to do it for longer, so he was able to create more music that I'm able to listen to. And that's not Mark Bolan's fault.
Bowie or the New York Dolls?
Oh, New York Dolls, it has to be. And that's because of my dad,
New York Dolls or Alice Cooper?
Oh, that's really hard too. Do you know, my dad was a big Alice Cooper fan, so sorry, Dad, I'm going to have to say Alice.
And the last one, Alice Cooper or Queen?
I'm going to say Alice Cooper. I actually listen to more Alice Cooper than I do Queen. And Queen are freaking up there. But again, I've got more of a personal connection to me and Alice go way back.
Do you know what? My favourite Alice Cooper song, and it was actually made famous by somebody else, and it was a television show at the time with three women called Rock Follies. And my favourite song that he ever wrote was Only Women Bleed. I think I remember buying an EP and that was on it, and it with all the strings and everything. It's absolutely sumptuous. I mean, the lyrical content is amazing as well, but I think it's just a sumptuous song. I'd love to hear you cover
it. What year was that, John?
Oh, 73, 72, 73, something like that. Have you heard the song?
No, well, I might have done. The name looked familiar. I listen to things on shuffle, so I never check at what the songs are actually called a lot of the time.
Yeah, you need to check it out. I could hear you doing that one, just to bring the mood down a little, just for a play, and then back again, being happy.
Oh yeah.
A throwback to your old band.
Press them a little bit.
Yeah,
just make people a little bit sad, and then.
Honestly, you need to check it out. It's an amazing track. It really is.
Okay.
It really is. So, how are you signed to a record label? I never noticed.
Yeah. So I'm signed to Rise Above Records. So they're who I did my first album with, and I released a single with obviously the ABBA cover a couple of months ago now, in July, just over a month ago. And that was with them. So my next album, which I'm in the process of writing, will also be on Rise Above Records.
Ah, that's cool. So have you got management team as well?
No, I am a one-woman band. I do everything myself. It's freaking exhausting. But I think with me, like, I have had offers from people.
Oh, you will have done.
A little bit controlling, let's say, but it's because I've put my heart and soul into this, and I'm it's so precious to me. I just want it to go to the right hands. And I have found a lot of people are just full of it, and I've
Mm,
been promised a lot by people that have let me down even so early on. So
mm.
I'm very careful about who I trust now. So, eventually I will choose a booking agency and a management team, but I'm just not ready to make that choice yet, I don't think.
I think that's totally sensible. There are a lot of charlatans in the
Mm,
past when Ian and I have interviewed people who have been in the industry for a long time. Some of the stories they told us at the time about record labels and management and that, I'd be running scared as well. The minute you get any kind, and the minute you get any kind of success, they're just circling like bloody vultures.
yeah.
And I mean, you just need to look at Lemmy. I remember Lemmy said in his book, in fact, his documentary, the only money he ever made for any song he ever written was the ones he wrote for Ozzy.
Mm.
Never actually made
Isn't that
money
crazy?
out of the Motorhead ones ever, no matter how many albums he sold.
Isn't that crazy? Absolutely crazy. I'm so lucky with my record label. They signed me off hearing two songs that were demos. They just heard something and liked it and picked me up, and I was that is a blessing. As a new artist, it's so hard to start because it's really expensive having your own money for PR, distribution, pressing, touring, all of these things. It's really, really hard to do on your own. So I can understand why people need a record label, but you are signing some of your rights away when you do that. So it's hard to weigh up whether that's the right thing to do or not. And I see a lot of artists go out independently. And I think of the band Assenvel. They are a really independent band
Mm,
who have really worked hard on social media. They've got great support slots and they've just worked so hard to get themselves out there. And they make a point about being independent. Another band like that is High Fade. They did the same thing. So there are bands that are doing it independently, but it is a struggle. And when I was starting, I was like, I don't have the financial funds to put into it. I'm not a whole band. I am just one person. So when I was approached by Rise Above and they wanted to sign me, I actually took that on, and that was 100% the right choice for me because they've been an amazing label, extremely supportive. Yeah, so I'm happy to stick around with them.
so have they
Absolutely.
have they helped you to get on some of the support slots that you've had?
So they don't have a booking agency or anything, but when I've got the support slots that I have had, they have been there and been like, how can we help you? They're there if I need to talk, if I need any tour support, things like that. They are absolutely there to help me with logistics. I don't like to ask too much of them because again, I'm quite an independent girly. But they're there if I need them. And it feels more like a little family that I've got rather than a business, you know.
Mm. So
What
how did you get the gigs then? Give us your
Um,
secrets.
So I was in a magazine called Vive le Rock where I had a feature in there, and someone, a lovely gentleman called Steve Homer, noticed me. He is the CEO of AG Presents, which are the probably one of the biggest promotion companies in the UK. They put on acts like Ed Sheeran, Diana Ross, Elton John, like really, really huge people. And he called me up. He was like, "Do you want to support Alice Cooper?" And I was like, "Yes, please."
what would you recommend for anyone starting off?
Oh, unfortunately, I'm going to be really honest, and people aren't going to like this. It's figure out a social media strategy because I think it's next to impossible to do it any other way in this world. Um, People are always on social media. You can, if you have a video go viral, you're golden. You're going to have fans immediately. You're going to have people listen to your music immediately, but it also means it takes up a lot of time. You need to be posting consistently. You probably need help with it if you haven't got a clue how to navigate the social media world because there's not only Instagram, there's Facebook, there's TikTok, there's Blue Sky, there's so many different avenues that you have to understand. So I would say come up with an aesthetic, a vision for how you want to be seen, and some consistent content to put your music out there. I know it sucks. It is hard work. I'm not the best at it myself, and I know I need to work harder at it. But that is probably the best way to get heard in this world.
So obviously you got your promo, you got your interviews with stuff for like with the magazines and stuff like that. How hard was it to actually obtain that, like, to get that and find the right promotion company to support you on your journey?
So again, that was done through, this is one of the perks of having a record label. That was all done through my label. You know, when you sign, that is one thing that your record label is supposed to do for you. They're supposed to do your PR. So they find PR, whether it's, you know, maybe just in the UK, if you're only putting your music out in the UK, if you've got an international contract, you'll do it worldwide. So through my label, that was done. So that was I didn't have to have a headache with that. It was all sorted for me. But I think newer artists that have started to put music out there, if you don't have a record label, invest in PR. Absolutely invest in PR, because to be able to get in magazines, it's all good going viral and gaining fans that way. But if you can do things like get in magazines or get radio play, get noticed, it helps you be more condensed in the scene. It means that promoters will be noticing you, you know, event bookers will be noticing you. Hopefully then labels will be noticing you, promoters, all these kinds of things. So it is a good investment to do PR.
Well, first of all, let me just put an addendum to that. Finding a good one, because there's a
Mm.
lot of charlatans out there who will take your money, live off your dreams, and walk away and go, well, I did tell you there was never, we can't guarantee anything. So there's a lot of that goes out. So it's finding the right ones. So how would you go about, Bobbie, finding the right ones?
And it's all about talking. I mean, reputation is everything in the music industry. So if you I mean, if you start a band, you've probably got peers that are also in bands, and you can reach out to people that maybe you don't even know and just ask them. If you see a band that you think that they're doing well and you can see what promotion company they use, just reach out to them and ask them what their experience was with that promotion company. You know, musicians tend to want to help other musicians, so you'd probably get a reply and find out whether it's a good move or not.
That's cool. Obviously, you've got your. Let's bring it back to some happiness as well, like, you know what I mean. So, obviously, you've got your tour next year, or you've got gigs coming up. But I presume you're going to have your own headline tour.
Yeah.
How do you go around? Would you pick a supporting act yourself, or would that be left to your label and stuff like that? And is there a way that if someone wants to, who sees you as an influence, what would you advise them? Like, you know, how to get in touch with yourself and stuff like that.
So I mean, it's a bit difficult. You have to be a little bit selfish when it comes to who your support acts are, and you know, your friends might pop up and be like, "Oh, we'd love to support you. Can we hop on?" But are those friends going to be able to sell tickets? Because at the end of the day, you need to make sure that the venues are going to be able to get paid, the promoter's going to be able to get paid, that you're going to walk away hopefully with something, because touring is really expensive. Um, but that makes it really difficult, because then it's like, well, how do these newer bands work and get seen? How do they get supporting bigger acts? So usually I like to try and ask for three bands on a bill, because then at least the opener, they're not really going to play for anything, but they're there for the exposure. And then the main support will help sell some tickets as well as the headliner. So I really believe in three band bills. I think that is the best way to do a tour, because then you've got the best of everything. You're able to help a smaller band, but you've got someone who is there to support you and actually support you in every way. So yeah, usually your promotion company, whoever you're working with, will suggest an act to open for you, or if you're suggesting someone, you kind of have to clear it with them. It's not really always your own choice.
Mhm.
Unless maybe you're really adamant, you say, I'm not going to do this tour unless this band supports me.
I don't blame you, to be perfectly honest. No, but that makes perfect sense. So, obviously, your merch is your merch as colourful as your music video?
Yeah, I went all out and I did like a 5 print color t-shirt. It cost me absolutely loads, but I love the design on it, and it is the best seller. So it was worth doing. And I always have limited edition vinyl in some mad colors. So I've got like a blue one, a sparkly glittery purple one, and you
So
know.
which one's your favourite?
Oh, this got to be the glitter one, hasn't it? Actually, I've just sold out, so I need to see if the record label want to repress it.
Yeah,
John?
well, it's you've got a tour coming up soon, haven't you?
Yeah, so next month, obviously with Luke Morley, but my headline, I've got some headline dates in October
Hmm.
around England.
Right, go on.
Well,
Here's your chance to punt them.
Okay, so 24th of October, we're at the Lower Third in Soho. 29th of October, we're at, oh, I can never pronounce this, Clwb y Bach in Wales,
Yeah,
which I
that's
think is
it.
just called Cardiff Club if you say it in English. That's 29th of October. 30th of October, I am in Manchester for the first time at the Lodge at the Deaf Institute, and that's it. It was a really short tour. I did have more dates, but then the suite came along and said, "Do you want to support me?" And loads of my dates were too close to their dates, so I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to drop a few of these so I can make sure I can do that.
There's like the other good thing about that is there's less risk to your finances as well, isn't there? When you can jump on something like that, and that's killing you. And I can bet you boots you will say you need to make sure you get loads of merch because you'll sell loads of merch at
Yeah, I
those
will.
gigs. Yeah,
I am really excited to support Sweet because that fan base, if they don't know me, they are 100% going to be like there for it because my music is so heavily inspired by Sweet. So I'm really, really excited for that. Also to hang out with Andy Scott, like obviously.
So how you get? So how did you get? When did you? How long have you been playing the flute? I should say, because
So
that
I
tickled me
started
when I
the
saw that.
flute. I was playing when I was probably about 10 years old at school, and I was like forced into it. I was just told I had to play an instrument, and that's the one that I had to play, and I absolutely hated it. Freaking hated it so much. It was so stagnant, and I was just there playing Three Blind Mice, and I just found it really boring. Um, a lot of classical stuff, and I was always told, "Oh no, you have to play it this way. You have to play it this way." So then I dropped it for years. Didn't want to know. I just stopped it when I was about 11 or 12. And then I heard Jethro Tull and I heard Focus. And I thought, oh, that's how flute can sound. Isn't that interesting? I was told not to make those noises whilst I was playing the flute, but they are making those noises and they're making rock music out of it. So that was a big inspiration to pick it up again. So I probably picked it up about 4 years ago again. So not really that long ago. Um, but I love it. And it's always the unexpected. Like I whip out the flute and people are like, what the hell?
Where, where's the flute? I think the flute should have its own fan group as well.
Yeah,
The flute
I
t-shirts, just
agree.
the flute, nothing else.
Just the flute.
No, I think it's cool because, like, again, because of my age, I grew up listening to Jethro Tull and people like that. So when I saw that you played it in a couple of, I was like, that's amazing. I love that. I think that was as much one of the reasons why it caught my attention as well. So when we were putting together a list of people we wanted to chat to, I suggested it to Ian, and then he's like, yeah, that'd be cool. And will she have a flute? Where's Daphne gone? Where's
I'll just go
Daphne
get
gone?
it.
Where's Daphne? I keep seeing Daphne appearing and reappearing and disappearing. Where is she?
Still here. She's still here.
Oh, bless her.
I've just woken her up. She's gonna be grumpy now.
Oh, yeah, well.
so before we wrap this all up and stuff like that, do you want to give us a shout out to all your socials where
Yep.
people can get
So
in touch with you?
if you want to follow me on Facebook, it's Bobbie Dazzle. Very simple, but it's Bobbie with an IE, not a Y, because I feel like that's the masculine way. uh, Instagram and TikTok, just search Bobbie Dazzle. You'll find me. I'm there.
I
What
should
I'll do is
I say that
I will put the links down below. So click on the links, check Bobbie out, and share the love, share the fun, have a great time looking at it, and drop her a comment because she's absolutely ace. So
And I will respond to all the comments.
there you go.
I should
There
well.
you go. Just don't bring a hairy prune. See you next
Please,
time.
no hairy prunes.
Yeah, you will be thrown out on your ear if you bring a hairy prune. That's a fact. Hashtag just saying.
So John, let's wrap it up, mate. Over to you, buddy.
Well, there you go. Thanks very much, Bobbie, for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, and I'm sure you'll make a lot more fans if they see you in this next tour and supporting the suite. And if you see her on here, make sure you go and follow on all the Instagram and TikTok and everything. Get onto Spotify, buy her albums, buy her t-shirts, buy her a flute, whatever. But the
They're
main thing is,
expensive. Please do.
but the main thing is, if you like what you've heard here, and why the hell wouldn't you? Then make sure you subscribe and tell all your mates about the Scouser and the Scot. Over and out.